All right. So we always start with our tenants, right? From the my brain is not working today. From the fidelity scales. So this is fidelity tenant 2.8. This is the vocational profile and narrative review. So this is kind of taking the we're going to talk about how we distill all the information that's in the staging record, and we put that into the profile, and then we take that information and then we create the visual representation. So these two are kind of all together in this tenant. So unacceptable is that we we're just kind of using that question and answer format, that we didn't really spend time with the person. We didn't and that it's obvious that we just kind of answered questions. We didn't really spend time. Bare minimum is that we are just kind of analyzing what we learned during discovery, and we include information about the person's strengths, their relationships, what the necessary supports are, and of course their interests. Even better, so is good, and then two additional points is that we are including the ideal conditions of employment, what their potential job tasks might be, things that really make sense for them to do, what their vocational themes are, and that we're including the evidence that we gathered from discovery. And then exemplary is that we include what kind of additional activities that we might have done, and that we're kind of showing what some of those corrections might be, or within that evidence, this is the direction that we shifted, if you did, or whatever, that you just have a real robust, just a lot of evidence that shows what's in this profile and the direction that you're going to go. So the purpose of this profile is that you're highlighting what you've learned. So oftentimes this is what the VR counselor will want. This is the part that you are really sharing, with the team. You will have the whole staging record, right, with the photos and all of your notes and the narratives and the interviews with everybody, that you're drawing from to then create this profile. But you're creating it and you're writing it in a way that everybody who reads it can really visualize who this person is. You want to be describing some of the notable moments from the discovery process, right? So whether it's things that really made sense when you did them, or something really didn't go well, and not that you write that disparagingly, but just that we really learned that this person wasn't interested in birds because when we did this activity, it was evident that their interest was only in their bird at home, or whatever it was. Providing these concrete examples of skills and tasks that you observed and what their potential contributions to a workplace might be. So again, this is why it's really important that your discovery activities that you're doing are action oriented, that you're really able to draw from these experiences that you've set up for this person. Right. So that for you, Jory, if you're going in and you're wanting to learn something at the day service experience, but there's just not anything that's tangible, you might be able to put together a puzzle with somebody and see that, right, they've got good dexterity, or they're good at organizing pieces, or maybe they're helping somebody else put together a puzzle. So you learn some things about somebody, but that doesn't tell, that's one activity. You're not going to keep doing that, right? That's kind of a get to know you sort of a thing. So you would want to go try something else, right? Maybe what other kinds of skills are related to somebody who really enjoys doing puzzles? Where else is that sort of, those tasks or that kind of skill that it takes to do puzzles valued? And thinking, broader, bigger. So key areas of the profile, and this is what is in the staging record. It's the last section. So I'm just pulling out all of those pieces that are in that last section of the staging record. So it might feel like you're already like that it's redundant because you've already kind of put some of this up in the other parts of the staging record, but you're summarizing it down, right? So you're summarizing what, the interests and talents and skills that you've already observed of this person. Best ecological fit. So this might include, uh, if they have some biological or psychological needs, what their values might be, or, personality kinds of traits or environmental characteristics that are really important to this person. Are they, um, if really intrinsically motivated? Do they, really like setting extrinsic rewards for themselves? Some people are like that. If I do this, I'm going to go get myself a whatever on Friday. Um, some people do those kinds of things for themselves. Some people have been conditioned. We've talked about that already. Um, right. But this is where you talk about the person's cultural values, or, just things that you've learned that are really, really important to them and that you're wanting to identify in the work, in the spaces that you're wanting them to spend time in, or that they want to spend time in. This is where you are talking about the best way that they learn, right? And the combinations of those, right? That somebody might want to watch something first, but then they also may want to read through instructions, or they want to physically be taught how to do something, um, and then have a checklist. So whatever that might look like, you want to be including that, what their best learning methods are. You know, things to avoid. And this is something that we want to frame in a positive way, right? If somebody gets overwhelmed, um, and hits themselves if they get overstimulated, how can you write that positively? Or, Kelie and I have both had lots of examples where we needed each other's support to write, or describe a situation that somebody needed to avoid in a positive way. It can be tricky, but you can do it. It's not that you want to skirt around the issue, but right, you also want to be respectful, and what details are important to include and what details are not important, right? We tend to, I think, as in human service speak, we tend to be, you hear just lots of terms that we use pretty casually that I don't think that we wouldn't use in an outside kind of world, right? So just kind of being mindful of those. The words matter. We've talked about that. Um, those endearing and engaging qualities, right? We've talked so much about those are those enhancing aspects that really kind of um, really strengthen the relationship, right? Of what um, the person brings to the table, right? It's whether it's noticing little details of, somebody got their hair done, or they're always opening the door for somebody, or they always pick up little, pieces that don't belong on the floor, whatever it is, right? That those are some of those endearing or engaging qualities. Um, exploitable skills. So maybe find, if you don't love the word exploitable, because most people don't, right? These are more of those unique kind of skills that somebody has that is like particular, right? So this is different than like a skill that is connected to a task that, um, right? It's just something that is really unique to this person. Maybe it the nuanced way that they remember everybody's birthday, or um, how quickly they can put together a complex Lego, or just whatever it is. They always have really good uh, situational knowledge of like where they are, spatial, excuse me, like they have good directional knowledge, or um, anyway, those are kind of those exploitable skills, or things that are really unique to that person. Somebody find another word for me besides exploitable. I'll change it, because I think, right, it has a negative connotation, even though it's meant to be a positive thing. I probably need to find another word. So these are some examples of what the ideal conditions of employment might be, right? That we're looking to really understand where this person is going to be at their best. So the environment that makes sense, um, that work culture. So, right, I think everybody kind of knows what that means by work culture as far as is it, um, is there a lot of joking going around? Is everybody very, serious? People kind of keep to themselves? Is it, um, really casual on Friday? Is there music playing in the background? What kind of supervision style does somebody really thrive in? Um, do they need to be around, working around people all of the time, part of the time? What time of day is best? You don't have to answer all of these questions, but certainly you want to be considering these these pieces, and some of them might be more important than others, right? Depending on the person. Does somebody really need flexibility? If I had to punch a time clock, I would be in so much trouble. And in positions where I had to, I was in so much trouble. Um, just not my best, not an ideal condition of employment for me at all. The pace of work, right? Sometimes people need a little bit more time to do something. They do it really meticulously well. But if it's a high pressure, lots of things going on, lunch rush sort of a thing, that's not a good fit for them. So and then other people really thrive in that high energy, hurry and get things done, and then everybody, gets to, calm down at the end and um, work at a slower pace together. Um, what sort of strength or agility or endurance is needed? Um, and this isn't a comparative sort of thing, but just, if it's kind of knowing if this is that something that this person thrives in, or, sort of, sort of needs, and that's something that you need to look for in that environment. Somebody working inside versus outside, or a combination, sitting or standing, right? All of these kinds of things. Does somebody need flexibility in terms of, accommodating, they have quite a few medical appointments, or they have a standing, physical therapy appointment they have to go to, or, can this place of business accommodate that? And then what about technology? Is that incorporated into the workspace, or is that something that can be accommodated? Right? Those are all just things to think about. Another piece that we want to address in the vocational profile is the off-the-job support that is needed. We're always thinking about transportation. We think about that from the second we meet the person, right? How is this person going to get to where they need to go? And who's going to support them with that, whether it's arranging for paratransit, or riding their bicycle, or, using other public transportation, right? Just kind of figuring all of those pieces out. Is this person working around, mealtime, or going to be eating meals at work? They need to eat before or after work? Are there health related concerns that they need to be eating at certain times? Is that something that we have to consider and address in the profile? Person needs support getting their work clothing ready. Are they just exiting school? Or is the school going to provide some support until they're done with school, and then that's going to transition to someone else? These are all just unique to what this person um, might be experiencing right now. Does this person need support to be ready for work? So this is when we want to make sure that we have everyone on the team on the same page. If somebody does need support to be ready for work, like getting their clothes ready, getting a meal ready, making sure they get enough sleep the night before, or whatever it is, if they live in a residential or living support situation, that's really important for whoever is in that role to understand what their support needs are, and what their role is in making sure they get to work, right? And everybody being on the same team and prioritizing that. Um, anyway, the reporting income, that can always be a tricky one if people aren't aware that they need to, and who is doing that, and who do we need to coordinate and make sure that's happening. Again, these are not all your responsibility to do. It's knowing who is responsible and who we need to coordinate with. This one is kind of is one that's interesting in that people don't think about the friendship piece. It's also kind of targeted towards people who have maybe been spending time in a day service setting or a segregated setting and are, that's where they've been spending time with their friends. And so, if they're starting to be employed at a, another setting, in a different place and they don't see their friends as much, if we don't kind of think about how to maintain those relationships, what can happen sometimes is people will, maybe if they don't have the words to say, hey, I miss my friends, people might sabotage, right, their employment so that they can see those friends, or they will maybe sometimes substitute or look for some of those friendships with with their coworkers at times where they're supposed to be working. So we want to just really make sure that people are maintaining those connections, and who's going to support them to do that if they need that support, right? If it just happens because we're in the same building, um, and we don't have to work hard at maintaining our friendship because we see each other every day. How do I make sure that relationship still happens because it's important to me, but I need support maintaining those relationships. So there's been some studies done, and when people have um, the outcome present for friendships, uh, they're also more likely to participate in the community, and people who are employed in integrated employment are twice as likely to have friend outcomes present as those who do not work in those settings. So people have more friends when they have community-based employment or competitive integrated jobs, but we also want to make sure that they have opportunities to maintain those friendships and stay connected to friends. So asking that question is really important because not everybody is able to do that independently, right? Some people need help getting phone numbers or emails, or if they don't have a cell phone, or whatever it might be, um, just having that conversation about how do we make sure this person gets connected to friends they make at work, but then also friends that they might be not seeing as often, um, because they're not going to be at the day program as much, or maybe at different times than some of these friends that they won't be seeing as often. Um, I once worked with a young woman who had a job, and she had a job in the community, but she was going to the day program every morning before she went to work, and I couldn't figure out why. And it was because she wanted to have, she wasn't going every morning, excuse me. She was going like 3 times a week. And when I asked her why, she's like, well, I miss my friends and I wanted to have coffee with them. And I was like, well, there's coffee shops like all over. Why wouldn't you guys like meet at a coffee shop before you go to work? And nobody had ever thought of that because, right, these other women were going to the day program. So one of the 3 mornings, they decided to try and they would start meeting at a coffee shop because it was also like closer to where she worked. This was in the opposite direction. And then somebody ended up having to like take her to work from the day program. Like it was just not the best use of time and resources. Um, anyway, so it was just one example of somebody who really wanted to maintain those friendships, and it could happen outside of um, the building. Somebody needed to have the conversation about it. Oh, it looks like we have some chat. Okay. Thanks, Jason. Leverageable. I like it, Kel. I like it. I shall forever not use exploitable. All right, we'll take a break here in a minute. Any thoughts about that? Anybody ever talk to you or wonder, has it been a thing that's come up as far as friendships? people worry they're not going to get to see their friends enough, or making friends at work, how we kind of facilitate that, make sure it's, people are getting support to do that in the right way. Okay. Other areas, we've talked about how this person's going to get to work, and it's why we do some of that community mapping early on in the discovery process to know, what is within this person's space. I think this is also the tricky part of, if you're working with someone and you're only seeing them, in your building, but you're not getting into their neighborhood or the place where they spend time. So, just thinking about how far of a distance, are they able to travel, or what that looks like, and thinking about what their transportation support looks like, and then what that look in terms of what that creates for their day, and how that feeds into their ideal work schedule. So when we talk about somebody's potential contributions, it's made up of essentially kind of 5 elements. So we're looking at kind of those strongest and most positive personality characteristics, right? I think everybody, knows what those are. Their most competent skills, um, work and life experiences. So what are some of those, experiences that they have that they bring to the table? Any credentials or specialized training that they have. And if they don't have any, that's fine. Um, and then recommendations. So, right, if you have a letter of recommendation, or a supervisor, anybody that is in authority, that that you would kind of make, that would contribute to what these potential contributions might make. That's kind of where you're drawing from to come to these contributions. So let's take a break real quick for like 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and dig into the visual resume. Okay. So after you get the profile portion of the staging record of the process done, then we move into the visual resume. And before we jump into this, I do want to show you in the Padlet where where you've got your resources. Or so here is the PowerPoint for today. And then here's some additional resources about doing the profile, developing visual resumes. Okay. So this one, I don't know why it does this. Like, it doesn't really want to load, right? Just like all the other stages, you have the kind of that narrative guidance document that gives you the steps, right? Um, how you summarize it, and then you've got an example, right? This talks about how you're going to do the planning meeting. Here is an example of a quality profile. So like the writing, the things that you would include, the way that you would write up that profile, right? This should be pretty robust. It's not all of your pages, right? It's not probably 30 pages of your staging record, which is why that's what you really want to kind of share at the planning meeting, is the profile, the visual resume. You want the whole staging record. You want to give that to the VR counselor just as evidence of your work, right? The discovery authorization is much more robust. It's right. It's expected to be 30 to 40 hours. You want to show all the evidence of that work. But as far as what you're sharing with the team, you don't need to share the entire staging record with them. You're going to be taking the pictures that you've done of discovery activities and whatever, putting that into the visual resume, and then you've got this profile, but you've got all of that staging record for backup, if that makes sense. But this is like what you would be sharing, and this is the last page of the last part of the staging record. Okay, does that make sense? And then here's just some additional resources that are about the visual resume and creating the profile. And then tomorrow we'll get into the planning meeting. And then here's some additional resources for that. Okay. All right. So depending on how much the person that you're supporting really enjoys, doing things on making PowerPoints or doing, uh, digital media or making videos or whatever. You want the person to be as involved as possible. It's a really great opportunity to kind of teach some of those technology skills if that's something that the person is interested in. If you're working with students, it can be a really great self-advocacy tool. There's lots and lots of benefits of visual resumes. It's becoming, just a tool that a lot of people use. It's becoming more mainstream and versus just something that a person with disability or a student with disability is using. You can look up visual resume and see lots and lots of examples, like an infographic, or it's something that a lot of people are using. Now, it's also just a really great way to help the team focus on, just the positive um, things that you've done with this person, and it's a good framework for sharing information with employers and having this proof, right? A picture with 1,000 words, whatever the adage is that you want to use. But it really does kind of increase motivation and buy-in because you have this evidence in front of people, and we have some examples to share. So, kind of some tips and tricks is you're telling a story, you're trying to portray something. You want the text to support the visuals that you're using, and vice versa. You might want to use some quotes that people say about this person. This is not the place where we're using human service agency jargon or acronyms, right? If somebody has you want somebody who is not in human services to review it, and obviously getting the person's approval. But this is where it might be nice if you're doing an informational interview and you have a good connection with somebody to get them to look at this visual resume and say, would you just mind reviewing this and give us some feedback? Because they're not in human service, they're not in this field. Is this something that would be helpful to you if you were hiring someone? Or give us some feedback on ways that we're really highlighting this job seeker who wants to be in this field of work. So that's what they, you want, as you're finishing up this process with discovery activities, if you haven't taken a lot of photos, um, you still have time to do that, right? You can still take some pictures, or ask the person to take some pictures of them doing something, or a family member or another staff. Hey, if they're going to do some activity over the weekend, would you mind taking a picture or a video of them, walking the dog this weekend, or whatever it is? You want to make it portable and then easy to send and share. So whether that's a live link, whether it's something you could email, something you have on a tablet, but it's really an opportunity to be creative and have fun. So, what you want to just kind of think about, what does this employer need to know about this person, and how can you demonstrate that visually, right? So this is through photos, videos, interviews, and we'll give you some examples of some ways that people have tried to do that. Is it an audio or a video drawing? Is it references? You want to just kind of visualize a resume of what would really best represent this job seeker that you're working with. So again, words matter. This is really kind of a marketing tool. I cannot describe enough. We don't want any human service jargon on this, because that's not something that a business or somebody who's looking to hire needs or wants. And we want action, kind of verbs. So these are kind of just some examples. When you think about some of the things that we say or the way that we write about people, Mandy can complete simple math and reading. Instead, saying Mandy matches letters and numbers and identifies discrepancies. Mandy is shy at working and responding to people greeting her. She's working on that. You could say she is most talkative when she has a script. She acts in plays, makes presentations at conferences, right? So it's basically saying she's at her best when she has this. Instead of saying she helps with chores around the house, it's specifically she's responsible for folding and putting away laundry for all of her family members. Instead of saying after extensive training, Mandy's able to use the bus if there's only one transfer, she rides the public bus to her volunteer position at the library and the pool for swim team practice, right? Just the language that you use describes Mandy as much more capable. Nobody needs to know that she had extensive training and can only do one transfer. It's good for you to know, but that's not something that, right, you need to put on her visual resume. Does that make sense? So here's some examples. Let's hope that this all works. I should have pulled these all up before. Where did it go?
Are you looking for examples of profiles?
Yes, can you guys hear this okay?
No.
Oh, hell. Okay, sorry. Just a minute. Hopefully this is not. Let's try Jenna's. Do you see it?
We can see it. We still don't have audio.
I have still not figured out my audio issue. And then, Kel, there are a couple more on that PowerPoint. Let me get to share it. And then here, let me see if I can send this to you and then you can pull it up. Thanks for bearing with us, everyone.
I have Mandy and something Ann. let me see. I have them already. If those are the ones you want to share.
There's on this one. This one that I just shared with you.
Hold on 1 second. Just pulling up.
Okay.
Is it this that you're wanting me to share?
Yep. And then the if you go down to the last, yeah, that last slide.
Just it, which?
Yeah, any of those. So like Bo's or Shane's.
Okay. Actually, it's not gonna let me share till I stop. Give me 1 second. Sorry, you guys. Bear with us just a minute.
So while she's doing that, Tish, I will answer your question. So typically, excuse me, just like any release that you have just for your organization, working with them, or like the one that you have with, VR or whatever, is just what you would use if you need like a template or something. I'm happy to.
How to open your car door while submerged underwater. A fatal construction flaw in all recent automobiles makes it virtually.
Gotta love the ads.
There's always like a delay, so you can't quite mute it when you want to. So.
Right. These are some video examples, and then we have some PowerPoint
My name is William Harvey Davis.
examples.
I live in Statesboro, Georgia. I used to work in Macon, Georgia, before I moved here. I used to bust tables, take them in the back and wash the business. Because I'm a hard worker.
See, this is the tricky thing with videos, right? They're great when they work. The thing I do like about videos is, right, you can kind of capture some of that endearing, those endearing traits.
Like a little jokes every now and then. I might buy a few things, but put the rest of it in the bank. Then whenever I need it, I just draw it out. Like deodorant, cologne, shoes, socks, t-shirts and stuff like that. Uh, my dad, because he always be there for me when I need him. You wash cars.
What do you think about doing something like this with your job seekers? Do you want to show the Mandy one, or I can pull up the one that Summer did that I love too.
So are you looking at more videos or are you looking more like what Summer did?
Either
Mike, I
one.
do a video.
You think he'd like to do a video?
No, I don't think that would go over very well, but I mean, he would love it, but
Well, and he doesn't use he's non-linguistic, right? So
right. So really wouldn't, I mean, he likes having his picture taken.
Okay, I'm trying to make it so you can see it wider. I'm not sure if it'll let me. Oh. Okay, I think that's as good as we're gonna get right now, but you want me to just
yeah.
go through these?
Yep.
And if you guys can't see some of the text, just grab your Zoom, like the column of videos and pull it to the other side. I do that sometimes if if our screens, our Zoom screens are blocking the view. So this one, I just shared this one yesterday with another class. It was a class of educators, because we kind of share these visual profiles with educators a lot, because we hope that educators could get a start on collecting some of this information about, you know, students that they have. So then when a student exits school, then they can share that with an employment specialist. But so this is just Mandy. She is very, like, she does a lot. So hers is very robust, but it just kind of talks about her participation in the community. She's on the swim team and plays violin. I like that. So she has her own business making pot holders, but I like on the side there how it specifically describes like the tasks and things that she does within that job. Not just, it's more than just that, like it does say she makes and sells pot holders in 5 locations, local stores and at the farmers market, but then it lists out some of the specific tasks she does within her business. And the same here, it lists her work experiences that she did in school, and it includes the tasks. For volunteer work. Again, just more showing through pictures and texts the experiences she's had. Work at the public library. Skills and attributes that would benefit your business. Tell me if I'm going too fast or too slow. And internships she participated in. And more tasks that she could do for a business. I think that's the last one. Yeah, that's the last one. You want me to share? I think her name is Sarah Ann or Jenny Ann.
Yeah.
Is that one that you could like email out as an example?
Yes.
It's Sarah Ann. Sorry, I couldn't remember. I thought there was. So yeah, there's like an introductory slide that kind of tells a little bit about her just in general, like some of her attributes. I'm a classy young woman. I have a big heart. I have many abilities. I have a passion for work. Lists skills she's good at and some work experience at McDonald's. More experiences. I like that this lists her vocational themes. I really like the ones that share like what supports help them to be successful. Some of them do that. I can't remember if this one does or not. I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'm gonna share one more. Maybe. Sorry, you guys. I must have too much going on my computer because it's being super slow. So this one doesn't share the individual's name, but I do like this one because it just kind of has some different headings that can be used. Like this is about me. Share some experiences. It lists out different experiences. It doesn't describe, I wish this gave a little bit more information because I happen to know that like these experiences were done through work-based learning work that was set up through his post-high program, which is great. I just wish it kind of indicated that things that I'm good at. Things that I like. More things that I like, but just show through images. Even if you don't know this person, you can get a good sense that, he's, socially he likes to be socially engaged with people and friends and be in his community. This is what I like. I think this is why I wanted to show this one. Things that help me be successful and do well. And that heading can be changed and said in, lots of different ways. But I like that it lists out. And this one, I wish it would get a little bit more specific, but I think this was created through I think an educator put this together, and it's not that it's bad, but the more specific information you can give that's in like the most empowering way possible to the individual, the better. And then this is the last one, but my hopes for the future after I finish school. Sure, are there others that you want me to share?
The only other one I had was the one that Summer Sylvester did with Beautiful Ability. And it's very similar to those in terms of, right, like things that help me do well, tasks I can do for your business. And he was another young man who was exiting school and going into the adult, this workforce. I do have one. I mean, it seems like people have either done PowerPoint or they've done a video. There's also kind of like a one-page infographic style that you can do. There's lots of different ways to do it. I mean, I think it just really depends on what fits the job seeker that you're working with. I think that the videos are nice if somebody can kind of speak to, right, what it is that they want. Like, I think Bo's was really simple, right? I'm a hard worker. They had some footage of him doing some of those things. I don't think they're hard to put together. It's just a matter of whether, that really makes sense for the person that you're supporting. But it is something that that you want to do and combine with your planning meeting and say, these are the things that we've done. This is what we want to share with employers, and get people's feedback. And we'll talk more about that with the planning meeting and, all the things that you're trying to kind of share tomorrow, right? This is kind of like your final step. The visual resume, you're gonna kind of, you're creating the blueprint for it at that planning meeting, right? Because you're not necessarily sharing it with employers at that meeting, but you're kind of getting some buy-in for it, and then you're going to be using it potentially. Yeah, be using it for businesses. So you want to at least have it started. You don't have to have it done before you have your planning meeting, but I think it's helpful to at least have an outline or a blueprint for it. It's technically part of, job development. I want to know that you feel comfortable creating a visual resume of some sort as, right, completion of this class. It is something that is a part of the customized employment process and unique to it. So I really want to feel confident, and I want you to feel confident that you can put one together. Any thoughts? Anybody being like, nope, not excited? Yeah, you're excited. you're not sure what you're going to put in it yet.
I have an idea how what I want to do, but I've not used PowerPoint probably in 15 years. Um, so it's gonna be a challenge.
Okay.
So
We do have some templates that we can share that make it pretty easy. But we
that's
do
great.
we also encourage you, like, we can share a template, but really think about what's in that template and know that it can be changed. If there's
Right.
more that makes sense for the individual, don't just stick with what's in the template. Like, really think about, other things. Don't just be, I guess, don't be limited by just what is in the template, because know that anything could be added. And even if you
It would
didn't
just be
want,
great to have that starting point, you know what I mean? Just
yeah. And even if you don't feel confident in doing a whole video resume, I've encouraged people to, you can embed video clips into a PowerPoint. So it's just there, and it's not the whole profile, but if you wanted to show, like, through video, like maybe a particular task or activity or interest or whatever that just was really meaningful to the job seeker, you could film it and then link it into the PowerPoint.
okay.
And if you're not feeling confident in PowerPoint or Google Slides or video, like, I know Tricia and I, both of us are happy to
Okay.
give
Actually,
guidance.
he already has that one. I think Trish's seen it. I can use that one as mom made probably.
Yeah.
Video. So cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think pieces of things that, right, they have that are already captured, you can, throw in. I did want to share this one because this job seeker was really involved and he created most of it himself. He chose he chose the colors, he chose the template. He had started, like, he got this job offer while he was wrapping this up. So this is just another one so these are things that he wanted to say about himself. So his skills were dependable, diligent, quick study, willing to work. His ideal conditions. So this was him. He wanted to work during the day. He was really committed to his religion and Bible Institute class. That was something that was important to him. He wanted to get pictures with his institute teacher and his love for learning. He wanted to take pictures of his certificate that he had taken. He had taken some classes. Yeah, he had pictures of himself that he wanted to take. He loves going for walks. These were his themes. He got an opportunity to get a job. These are accommodations he needed, the task. So he really kind of did this whole thing himself. Took pictures of himself at his job. And then anyway, so this is one that he put together himself. So it was kind of like this is what I learned about myself. Oh, by the way, I got this job while we were doing discovery. And then he wanted to say thanks. So it really can be anything. And I felt like the employment specialist did a great job of letting him just kind of guide the process. So anyway, that is all. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we've given you guys a lot of information, so at this point, you might be feeling like this is a lot, but honestly, these profiles are quite fun to put together and to do it with your job seeker. I think one of the most challenging parts is just, remembering to capture photos or video that really kind of highlight the interests and tasks that they participate in.
Um, so we are finished for today. We'll come back together tomorrow morning at 9 and talk about the planning meeting. So how you kind of take all this information, pull the team together, share everything you've learned, and how you kind of run the planning meeting. And so that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. And then we have one more learning session that focuses on customized job development. And I would love to just schedule some time individually with each of you just to kind of check in, see where you're at, pull up, your writing, just kind of develop an individual plan wherever you are, just to make sure you're on track, that you're feeling supported with the process, any gaps you might have, just whatever you need to get you to the finish line. And if that's the end of May, great. If it's longer, that's fine too. We just want to kind of know. Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions, thoughts?
I have a lot of questions, but I might just put them in an email.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll email you.
And this is not something you have to do, right? This is something that you do when you're done with
Right.
with discovery and you're feeling good about your themes, and it
Can you-
felt like about the right time
Yeah.
potentially in terms of where people are at in the process. You might have
Yeah.
a few more informational interviews to wrap up or a few things, but anyway.
Yeah, I have a few things that I still need to do and stuff, but on themes, I'm kind of started just like, can I group like a theme? Like, I mean, I have like 3 different groups and they kind of like go together, on some kind of one of them might carry over into the other 2 or something, but or do you want me to just narrow it down to like just 3 certain ones?
I mean, it's good if you can, when you think about places that combine themes, right? That makes it even stronger, because then you're combining some of those interests or those, right? You're kind of touching on all of those things together. So
Okay.
let's talk and
Yeah.
kind of sort through that.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. And okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.